Today, we will teach you about kinds of sentences according to structure. But first, let us know about clauses.
A clause is a group of related words that has a subject and a verb. Now there are two types of clauses. First, the independent clause. An independent clause is a group of related words that can stand or can make sense by itself. Sound like a sentence? Well, it is. Also, it is called the main clause. For example, in the sentence, Mary has a cat. It has a subject, which is Mary, and a verb, which is has. And also, it makes sense by its own. The second type, the dependent clause. A dependent clause differs from independent clause because it cannot stand by itself. It needs at least one independent clause to complete its thought. This clause can also be called as the subordinate clause. Example: in our sentence earlier, Mary has a cat. We can add any subordinating conjunction to it to make a dependent clause. Now, let me show you first some examples of subordinating conjunctions. Going back to our example, Mary has a cat. Let us add although to it. Although Mary has a cat. So as you can see, the subject and the verb are still there, but the whole thought of the sentence is not complete.
Now that you know about clauses, let us go to our real lesson.
So our learning objective for this video is to identify the different kinds of sentences according to structure used in a paragraph. Now, we have four kinds of sentences, namely simple sentences, compound sentences, complex sentences, and compound complex sentences. We are going to start first from simple sentences. Simple sentences are made up of one independent clause and only contains one piece of information. For example, in the first sentence, he jogs every morning. It has a complete thought and has a subject, he, and a verb, jogs. Now for our second sentence, which is, he stops once in a while. This again has a subject, he, and a verb, stops. And then it also expressed a whole thought.
So that's simple sentences. It is really simple, and I'm sure you can do this. Moving on to compound sentences.
Compound sentences are made up of two or more independent clauses joined by a coordinating conjunction. For, and, nor, but, or, yet, so. From our two examples earlier, let us try to combine them with the use of coordinating conjunction. Anyway, a coordinating conjunction is primarily used to connect two independent clauses. Now back to our examples. Let us now try to combine our two sentences by adding a coordinating conjunction. He jogs every morning, but he stops once in a while. As you can see, two independent clauses are present but connected by a coordinating conjunction, but.
Now for the next kind, the complex sentences. It might sound complicated, but it's really not.
So complex sentences are made up of one independent and one or more dependent clauses. These clauses are joined by subordinating conjunctions. Let us get our two examples again and change one of them to a dependent clause to make a complex sentence. While he jogs every morning, he stops once in a while. You can see that we added a conjunction while and noticed that I put a comma in between clauses to separate or identify the two parts of our sentence. Now they make sense and have a different effect than when they are two simple sentences.
So that's what you need to do in a complex sentences. You can put any subordinating conjunction as long as it fits.
Down to our last kind, the compound complex sentence. Now, you may have an idea what does this do because of its name. So, it is a combination of compound and complex sentences. How? Compound complex sentences are made up of two or more independent clauses and one or more dependent clauses. Earlier, compound sentences required two independent clauses but no dependent. And then, complex sentences required only one independent clause and also one or more dependent clauses. Join them together and we'll have a compound complex sentence. Now let's have our example. Earlier, we have one independent clause and one dependent clause. Let us now add one more to complete our sentence. While he jogs every morning, he stops once in a while and he drinks his water. So I added an independent clause. He drinks his water and connected with the use of a coordinating conjunction and.
Now we have a compound complex sentence. So we made a paragraph just for you for our activity.
While he jogs every morning, he stops once in a while. As he stopped to drink his water, a runner passed by him and he accidentally bumped him. The water was all over his clothes. The runner said sorry, so he nods, making him know that it is okay. Now I want you to pause this video and identify which kind of sentences was used in the given paragraph. Okay, time's up. The first sentence, which is, while he jogs every morning, he stops once in a while, is a complex sentence. I started the sentence with a subordinating conjunction while, then I put a comma to separate the independent clause from our dependent clause while he jogs every morning. Next, the sentence, as he stopped to drink his water, a runner passed by him and he accidentally bumped him, has one dependent, as he stopped to drink his water, and two independent clauses. A runner passed by him and he accidentally bumped him. It was connected by a coordinating conjunction and, therefore, it is a compound complex sentence. For our third sentence, the water was all over his clothes. You can see that it only has one independent clause, therefore making a simple sentence. Into our last sentence, we have two independent clauses. The runner said sorry, and then the second one, he nods, making him know that it is okay. The two independent clauses was joined by a coordinating conjunction, so, resulting to a compound sentence.
Now in conclusion, these kind of sentences will help you produce a paragraph with a good flow of information. Before we end the video, let me show you a summary of all this by using a table.
As you can see in the table, simple sentences need only one independent clause and no dependent. Then, the compound sentences. This now need two independent clauses, but then again, no dependent clause. Next, complex sentences need one independent clause and one or more dependent clauses. And finally, compound complex sentences need two or more independent clauses and one or more dependent clauses also.
So we hope that you learn and understand our lesson for today, which is the different kinds of sentences according to structure.
That is all for today. Goodbye and see you again.